Sounds like my old girlfriend.
It's like Sade.
Oh. One of those things, what can we say? Another day in America. Larry, thanks for coming up. We got a chance to talk here about what's happening with the Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce, talk about what's going to help African American businesses to expand, and to see what we can do to help a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely, Lester. And I just want to be clear is that when you say Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce, the name is the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce.
I apologize.
That can create some confusion.
I apologize. I meant to say Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. That creates a lot of legal issues here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, hey, Lester, it's an honor, man. You know, you and I have been talking about coming on the show for quite some time, and I am just ecstatic to be here with you to have a dialogue about the Chamber and about the state of Black people and Black business.
Okay, so hey, we're here at the RUSS MEEK Speaks show.
Okay.
Going to get a chance to tell people what's going on. And why don't we start off by telling me, Larry Ivory, who are you, what do you do, and how can we move forward?
Well, I'm just a servant of Black business.
Okay.
My role as the President and CEO of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce is to help create and foster business growth and development for Black businesses. I also serve as the National Chairman of the National Black Chamber of Commerce in Washington, D.C., and also serve in a role with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the CC 100, which was a select group of chambers of commerce who meet with a lot of key people on Capitol Hill, on business CEOs and major companies to help make sure that the American policies of business growth and development is protected.
Okay, so is it an issue? Are Blacks really hindered these days by being Black in this country? They're not getting access to contracts and work that's available?
You know, I don't think there's any question about that. You know, you still have institutional racism. We're still looking at the numbers. The numbers don't lie, Lester. And I'll give you a number that's really startling for most people. When it comes to federal contracting, African Americans, out of all of the 100% of the pie, get less than 1.5% of all the federal contracts.
1.5.
1.5%.
Okay.
And that's not enough, quite frankly. If you take a look at cities throughout the United States where you have a significant Black population, you're going to find the same thing is true when it comes to Black participation within those cities, that Blacks aren't really participating at a real significant level, even when it comes to contract. I tell people, say, if you take a look at white males, they represent 40-something% of the population, but they're getting 90% of all the contracts. Tell me what makes good business sense about that. And that's why I think America has some challenges in front of it in order to create equity, fairness, and inclusion, and that's under attack right now.
We've had this conversation a lot of times. The money is flowing. We got a interesting population here, African Americans. We spend roughly about $1.7 trillion, I think, more than a lot of countries around the world. And right now, we seem to have problems by getting employment. We're not getting contracts, and we're not getting recognized for the things that we do. We're not all Michael Jordans. We only do so much, but the real scenario is, how do we expand what we're trying to do with African Americans? I'm in the process to say, look, I need to create more Black billionaires. That's my issue for expansion, but what else can we do?
Well, Lester, I think you hit it on the head. You have a lot of examples of great basketball players, great entertainers, and they have no problem in acknowledging that type of contribution. But when we take a look at contracting across the board, it's simply not happening. The participation isn't there. What do we need to do? We need to be more diligent about equity, fairness, and inclusion. And we need to hold the politicians accountable, and we need to exercise our vote to vote for the people who understand that and create fair, legitimate opportunities. If you go back to even slavery, right after slavery, when we were thriving, in and we had our own cities that were thriving, banks, insurance companies, everything else. What did they do? On a consistent basis, the white business owners didn't like that. And it created an environment where it was hostile. And then all of a sudden, those towns disappeared. That economic base that we had was destroyed, burnt down, people were murdered. And no one really wants to talk about that, because there's a psychological harm that happens when those things happen. And I think America still has some work to do in terms of correcting some of the injustice. But I don't think we can sit here and wait for America to have the conscience they should have. I think we've got to fight and demand and understand our position of strength and go after what we want, quite frankly, Lester.
Right. Larry, you're the chair of the Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce. Right now you have a chance to enlighten a lot of minority firms, black firms, to get them business and contracts and things of that nature. How do they get involved with the Black Chamber?
Real simple, man. You can go to our website at ilbcc.org, and right there you'll see information. You can always email us anytime. Our phone number's on the website. And, you can listen to our radio show that we do on WVON every Saturday morning at 9:07. We start off and just get involved, because we're focused on, if you're interested in making our communities better and participating in the American dream, you cannot erase poverty without entrepreneurship. The only pathway from poverty to wealth is through entrepreneurship. And so we have to make sure this is a priority, because when we have money and wealth, we also create jobs, opportunities, and everything else that goes along with it. So, it's easy to get involved. You can call us at 309-740-4430, or you can just look up Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and give us a call. We're here to help you to advance your business if you're interested in business. But if you're interested in just helping the mission of the organization, we love to have you engaged and involved. We have 12 standing committees in our organization, like construction, which means that you're going to be talking to people at the Department of Aviation, Jamie Ree, who's a great leader there. You're going to be talking to CTA. You're going to be talking to the Department of Transportation, the Tollway. All these agencies are doing construction, whether it be vertical or horizontal construction. Capital Development Board has billions of dollars they're spending right now to build buildings and everything else. And so you can get involved in our construction committee. You can get involved in our IT committee. The state spends billions of dollars in IT, Lester. And the last numbers I looked at wasn't overly impressive with African Americans participating in IT. You can get involved in our healthcare committee, headed up by Dr. Jeffrey Sterling, a phenomenal surgeon and physician, an author, and a list of other things, graduated from Harvard. He's the chair of our healthcare committee. It's $1 trillion industry. And we're not participating in it at any significant fashion. So we have to be conscientious, Lester, and say, wait a minute, we're spending money and we're contributing to the Department of Transportation, as an example. And I say this all the time, is that the Department of Transportation is funded through a motor fuel tax, which means that if you put gas in your car, you're funding highway infrastructure. That's how it's funded. Mm-hmm. So do black people drive cars? Yes. So it means they're contributing to the infrastructure. But drive up and down the highways and you'll see that we're not often working on those highways. That's not acceptable. I think the president did a great job with Justice 40 initiative to ensure that people who were left out could be written in with executive order. But we got to hold people like the Secretary of Transportation in compliance. Where are you spending that money? Are we participating? Are engineers, are our contractors participating at the level they should be? And if they're not, then we ought to have some issues and we ought to challenge it to find out what's going on and how we fix it.
Got it. Larry, what's the difference between the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and all the other organizations that say they can help you to get your business and operations up and rolling? What makes Illinois State different?
First, let me say that, anytime we have any organization focused on black business growth and development, that's good. But in business, you always want to know what is my competitive advantage over my competition.
Okay.
Let me tell you what I think our competitive advantage is. From a chamber perspective, we have a global perspective. We're in over 25 different countries. So we meet with the leaders of countries in Africa, Brazil, Jamaica, Costa Rica, the Virgin Islands. So we have a global focus. So if you're an organization with some capacity and you want to be able to do business globally, there's probably no other organization that has our reach globally to help you get into those opportunities. Then when you take a look at on a national level, say you're a business owner, you're an engineering firm, and Lester, you want to go to do business in New Jersey. But you don't know a lot of people in New Jersey. So you'd have to invest a lot of time and money to do that. Well, because of our network, we have John Harmer, who's a part of our national organization. I introduced John to a lot of businesses like Millhouse Engineering, Infrastructure Engineering. Both of them are members of that organization. Because John is a major player in New Jersey, he's able to create doors, open doors for them that would take many years to open the doors at the same level. And we had that throughout the whole United States, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee. And that gives you, if you're a business person, you want to be around people that can open doors for you, that can create opportunities globally and domestically at the same time. And then you take a look at what do we do on a local basis. We have our own radio show that we're able to talk about the issues that impact Black business community. Mm-hmm. Then we have the other committees we have, our 12 standing committees from entertainment, you name it. We just had Gregory Stewart, who just did a great rendition of Nat King Cole. That was a big success. He's a part of our entertainment committee with people like Harry Lennox, the guys from FUBU. So we got a lot of things that we do that I think gives us a competitive advantage in the marketplace and allows you really to grow your business. And we're in meetings with leadership. We're not in meetings with just the average Joe Blow. When we meet, we're meeting with the people at the very top to talk about what you've done, what you're not doing, what we need to change in order to improve Black participation. And we do not give up. We stay focused and we impact policy. And we also have a political PAC, the Illinois Black Business PAC, which is designed to contribute to legislators who get it, who understand it. And I think that's the difference in us. We have a lot of things that are happening, but I think if you take a look at why our organization is an organization that a real business person who's serious about growing would grow, why they would join us.
Now, question. Chicago, major city around the state of Illinois. Why don't we have the Illinois Black Chamber Chicago office here? Or is that not the way it's defined? How do we want to define how the Illinois Chamber is really divided? Because you guys have Rockford, we have all the different locations in the world. One of the main populations is here in Chicago. Where are they?
There's nothing that compares to Chicago when it comes to Black entrepreneurship, hands down. Our commitment is to be able to find a new regional VP in the northern region, to expand our office in Chicago, because Chicago is a place where things happen. It's one of the greatest cities in the United States of America, even with its challenges that it's experiencing right now. So we have to invest more time and more energy, Lester, into making sure that our footprint is even stronger. Even though I'm here on an ongoing basis, we need to have even a stronger presence in Chicago. Got it,
because right now, we just had a great conversation with Lester talking about CTA and the $3.9 billion that he's trying to allocate to business owners here in the Chicagoland area and staffers, over 6,000 people he's trying to get contracted. How are we going to set this up?
Well, I think that we started with having a conversation with the chairman. And now it's about, now that we had a conversation and there's a willingness, it seems that they want to do something to improve Black participation because they reached out. I think it's up to us now to sit down and have a meaningful dialogue about where the opportunity is and how we prepare our people who are ready, willing, and able to come to the table and compete for the business. And we got to stay focused on that. So we're going to have to push the envelope with your help and others We're going to be sitting down with leadership and talking about where the opportunities are and who within our organizational reach would be suitable to come and compete for that business. And the beautiful thing about, we got a lot of great businesses, from Ardmore Roderick, from the engineering side, you got the Millhouse, and you got infrastructure engineering. You got so many phenomenal companies that are world class, and all thing they need is an opportunity. So we have to make sure that those companies get the prime contracting opportunities, because if you're priming, you're able to pick your subcontractors also, and that's the thing that I think we got to do a better job of. More primes, because the primes pick their subs, and if they can pick their subs and they can pick other people that look like them, just like white people pick other people that look like them in some cases.
Got it. Another issue that was thrown out to me, saying you're going to have Larry on the show. Ask him, what about females that are participating with the Illinois Black Chamber? And also, what about youth? How are you guys developing in those areas to make sure that we have growth from our women and from our kids?
Oh, yeah. Well, we always have a focus on, our organization has always been sensitive to women in business, because that's one of the fastest growing segments. We have a lot of great women business attorneys, engineers, you name it, we got it, that are members of our organization. So we just got to continue to promote them, continue to help them, and let them help us too at the same time. So I think we just have to stay focused on helping women business to get access to capital, creating opportunities, and listening, listen to what their challenges are. And when they have a problem, we have a problem. And that's what I love about the Chamber, is that you're not out there by yourself. If you're a member of our organization and something happens where you didn't get treated fairly, or someone owes you money, you're not getting paid, a call from us is a whole different call than a call from yourself.
Okay.
And we make things happen. So if someone's not paying you, we call personally and say, guess what? That's our member. And I don't think you want to have problems with us. So we need you to pay our members, because we only have so many businesses, and we need to protect those businesses. We believe in protecting those businesses because those are our businesses, and we are with them 100%. When it comes to the youth, you cannot have an organization without having a youth. I'm always looking for young, talented brothers and sisters, internships. We encourage our members to get young interns at the same time. So if you have any young interns who are looking for an opportunity to be a part of our organization, we ask you to reach out to us, because we love young, talented brothers and sisters that we can train, that can take the organization and can take black people to a higher level than what we've ever done.
Now, is this something that you can access on the website? If you go online to the Chamber online, will you see these areas if I'm a youth or I'm a female trying to get some directed in this area?
Yes, we do. Matter of fact, we have just redone our website. And one of the things that's not on the site right now is all our standing committees, but you'll see that by the end of this week, because we just did a whole new revamp of our committees, and you'll be able to go and see every committee we have, for entertainment to IT, technology, to all the 12 standing committees, international trade, the whole gambit.
So Larry, you're dealing with the scenario of information, you're trying to direct people the right direction, and you're trying to create a new ideal of contracting and participation, and also governmental retaliation, because we have issues for contracting, getting registration, having certain certifications, all these different things that people have to go through to get what they need to continue their operation. Is that available through the Chamber?
Absolutely, absolutely. We work very closely with CMS and the BEP Council. I served on the council for quite a number of years. But Carlos Gutierrez is one of the best guys in certification for the state. And if you got a problem, we can get Carlos on the phone with you. And Carlos with CMS, BEP Council, as part of the CMS group, is always prepared to help you and help you fast track and get certified, because you do need to be certified in order to get a lot of the opportunities that the state is giving. That doesn't include what corporations are giving, because that's a big spend also. The utility companies, Calvin Butler, who's the head of Exelon, is one of the giants in the industry when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion. ComEd, Ameren, People's Gas, Nicor, All these are great companies. Our utility companies, quite frankly, one of the areas we can be proud of, that they knock the ball out of the park when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Their numbers are some of the best in the whole country when it comes to each state. I could put up our utility companies against the best of all states, and they will come and be number one, quite frankly.
Now, question, there's an event coming up in February that you guys are going to be hosting. How's that going to help?
Well, we're partnering with Sherry Simmons with Small Business Development Center. We're going to be doing an event at the Malcolm X College on February the 29th. And it's going to be about clean energy symposium and opportunities. You'll see CEOs of energy companies, all kinds, Jamie Reed from the airport, all kinds of people. You'll see matchmaking. So we created a forum where black business could come, get registered, and get a chance to talk to people about their business, their competitive advantage, and hopefully get an opportunity to do business, because that's what it's really all about. Our problem in the black community is not a social economic problem. It is an economic social problem. If we have the economics, we can fix our social. But America has not done black people justice going back from slavery, when 4 million black slaves worked for free. Then once they got freed, you had the Jim Crow, you had patronage, you had all these things that put black people right back in institutions and jails for the smallest of incidents, and municipalities benefited because they subbed that worked out to corporations and corporations, mining companies and everything. America has benefited on black people for way too long without black people getting a fair return on investment. And you and I, Lester, come from the investment banking business for umpteen years, and we know something about a return on investment. And if we both have a portfolio and the same investment philosophy, and we got the same investment manager, I get a 15%, you get a 5%, and we made the same investment, there's something wrong, right?
Yeah, somebody's going to have dollars reallocated.
Absolutely. Well, America needs to have dollars reallocated when it comes to black folks, because we have not gotten a return on investment. There is no moratorium on taxes for black people. There's no discrimination for collecting taxes. There ought to be no discrimination for contracting. And until black people understand that and demand rightful economic participation, they will always be marginalized and taken advantage of, quite frankly.
Why is that? Is this purely a racial type thing?
Well, this is institutional racism. America was a country that who benefited from slavery. It was, I don't know if they ever admitted that slavery was wrong, quite frankly. And everybody's gotten some type of reparation for the deeds of the past. Whether it be with the Japanese or whether it was the Indians or someone, they got some form of reparations. Black people have died in every war, fought in every war, won every Olympics, and America would not win one Olympics without us. Entertained, did everything you could possibly do, and we're still fighting to be treated fairly. And like Dr. King says, of the good things in life, the black man and black woman has a small portion. Of the bad things in life, we have a double portion. The great equalizer is entrepreneurship, growth, and development, and making sure, and our job is to create an environment in policy that create a level playing ground where black people can participate. And when we find injustice in procurement, it's our job to fight it, to bring it to light, to challenge the governor. We have a great governor who's in a position he needs to do more when it comes to procurement. There's an opportunity to do some things. Chicago has a big fight in front of it right now. There's a lot of hostility. But when we take a look at what's happening, how many contracts of food contracts and everything are going to people of color? It's not happening at the level it can happen. They make a strategic mistake by not doing it.
I did have a conversation with our great governor. I even told him about watching the show sometimes. He may be watching this when it comes on. So what do you want to tell him right now? What do we have to do in the state of Illinois to change policies and make it work better?
I think, like all of us, we want to have the best state in the union. We're being outpaced by Texas and other places who I fundamentally could disagree on their policy. But we have to focus as a community and as a business community about how we grow this economy. I mean, how do we grow? How do we attract businesses, technology, everything? And how do we become the greatest city or the greatest state in the United States? We got some work to do, but if we work together, if we respect each other and take time to listen to each other, because people want to know how much you care before they want to know how much you know. If people, what I understood in the investment banking business, which I loved, is that, my clients knew I cared about them. Even if I made a mistake, my clients never left me because they knew at the end of the day, I was doing the best thing that I knew how to do for them. I conveyed that to them. They understood that. And when I left the investment banking business, I had very wealthy clients literally cry, and they were white as well as they were black. They would cry because I was getting out of the business, and they didn't want somebody else. They wanted me because they knew that I cared about their financial welfare and their financial good. And when you do that as a leader, you're going to always lead people. They're going to always stress you and they'll always be there for you at the same time. This governor has a chance to become an even better governor by being sensitive listening, but also getting a chance to talk to the chamber. That one of the strongest voices for black business in the state of Illinois is the Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce, hands down. No one does it like we do it. No one is as focused on it 24/24 like we do on a state, national, and international level. So it's incumbent. If you're serious about black business and black people, you got to be involved with the chamber.
Larry, you are looked upon as being the notable chair of the Illinois Chamber, and now you're also the national. And people look at you to say, hey, if the job has to get done, Larry can make it happen. Is that too much expectation for what you're trying to get done?
I think we all should be looked upon as people who have a passionate desire to make things better for America. And I don't think it's too much pressure for me, but it ought to be pressure for everyone to feel like they really making a contribution. There's nothing greater, in my opinion, than to help someone else. If you're in the dump, go do something for someone else that didn't ask you to do something for them, and see how you feel when you do it. It's incumbent upon me to be happy as to help someone. When I help an African-American firm win a contract and they tell me they won because we did something to help, because we were an advocate pushing for the envelope, and they say they win, that is the ultimate high for me. And I tell people, and I tell my son and his friends who are, 20, 21 years old, I said, if you want to feel good about yourself, do something to help somebody else. It doesn't mean that every hour you're out there helping someone, but it means that every now and then take time to do something good for someone else that they didn't ask for. But then also be good at what you do. Become the best at what you do. No matter what it is that you do, be the best at it. Strive to be the best at it, put the time and energy in it, work hard, be disciplined, and don't be afraid. Our problem is that we got too many leaders, in my opinion, who are too damn afraid, Lester. They're afraid to stand up. They're afraid of the consequences. If I say the wrong thing, they're going to come and take my little stuff from me. Well, this stuff I can't take with me anyway. My job is to be an advocate, and when I stand before Almighty God, I want to know I've done my job representing black business and representing the people who I represent.
Larry, I'm a example, small business owner. I have this manufacturing shop here in Chicago, and we have maybe 20 employees and a lot of contracts of what we could be doing. We haven't investigated it that much, and we probably need to talk with somebody like you to say, hey, what are we not doing to expand our operation? Is that happening with the chamber?
Oh, all the time. That's exactly what we do, Lester. When a business joins us, we sit down, we ask them to put together, show us the capability statement. We ask them, quite frankly, what's your biggest challenges that's stopping you from getting to the next level? We ask them to write those 3 challenges down. And we spend time to get acquainted with their company, because you can't, give a remedy to something unless you have taken time to understand the conditions.
Okay.
So we take time to understand the conditions, the challenges, and we are very intent upon understanding what the issue is, whether it's access to capital, whether it's finding talented employees, whether it's roadblocks in the industry. It's any number of things. And so you have to sit and listen first before you can help people resolve a problem. But people know that when they sit down with us, that we're listening, that we're actually listening very carefully. We want to know what your problems are. We want to know what your challenges are. And then we want to help you craft a game plan and solution and a game plan to win. If you're trying to get to do business in Champaign, Illinois, we have a deputy governor in Champaign who's one of the most phenomenal guys in Champaign. He's our chairman of the board, but he's the deputy governor of Champaign. Champaign has some of the best, they say some of the best procurements in terms of percentages that they rank very high throughout the state. But that's because of Will Cowles, the deputy governor, who's also the chairman of the board of our organization. So if you want to do business in Champaign and around the University of Illinois, then we got people there that can help you. And we'll put them to work for you, and they'll go to work for you.
Got it. Larry, what's the scenario for the next 5-10 years? Where is the Illinois chamber going to be? Are you going to change the dynamics and expand? And again, Illinois will explode because the Illinois chamber hasn't got you into the business?
I don't know about exploding. I think we're going to be truly focused, even more focused, on several things this year. This year specifically. We're going to take a look at transportation across the board. We're going to improve Black participation with the Capital Development Board, with the Department of Transportation, with CTA, with the tollway, and with other agencies that are involved in vertical or horizontal construction. We're going to be very intentional about that. We're going to be asking people to become a part of our construction committee. One of the leaders of our construction committee is one of the most phenomenal businesses in the state of Illinois, is BOA Construction Company, one of the only Black companies that built a skyscraper. BOA is the chairman of our construction committee. We have great partners like Wind Creek, who's doing a phenomenal job of building a new hotel, who's great partners of ours. So I think we're going to focus on construction. We're going to focus on healthcare, because healthcare is a big spend, and we're not getting tangible results. And there's healthcare disparities in the Black community. And when healthcare disparities happen, you have to have culturally sensitive remedies in order to fix it. And so we're going to be focused more on what we can do in healthcare. Department of Correction, more Black people are incarcerated, and recidivism is a critical issue. People come out and go back in. Well, people go out, come back in, they don't have a license, they don't have that, but we're bringing people in from other countries, and we're doing everything we can to give them a hand up. We ought to do the same thing with our people here to give them a hand up. They deserve the same thing, not the same thing, even greater, because they've been here, they've contributed, and they've made their contribution to this country, and we ought to be sensitive to that.
And what's your opinion on that? I looked at the stats, I read some of the reports. We're spending on average per resident in our penal system from $25,000 to $30,000 per year to have them housed in the system. And right now, we need to educate them, get them ready to exit, and find job opportunities.
If we're a great society and we're smart, we're not going to just let people go to prison and sit and do nothing. We're going to make sure they come out better, not worse, but better. And that means that we're going to have to do something slightly different than what we've been doing. And we're going to have to teach them some key skills and trades, so when they come out of prison, they can not just beg for a job and most of the time won't get hired, but have a skill in a trade that can be of value to any business and company. Now, are we going to reform everybody from the system? No, not everyone, but we can change the numbers dramatically, and we can help them to become entrepreneurs, and then they can become models that understand other people like them and bring them into the system where they become a productive member of society. That's a beautiful thing. That's a great state. When we learn how to do that and we lead the country in that, that will make Illinois even better. We're good, we can be better, and we can be great. The question is, what are we doing to do that? And you can't do the same thing and expect a different outcome. And we're not here to be mediocre. We're here to be great, in my opinion. I think that's what Illinois wants. That's what a citizen want greatness. And that means that we're going to have to do things a little bit different, Lester.
Yeah, because it's not an easy job to try to change the system. It's not been done, and I haven't found a remedy to make this thing happen quickly.
Hey,
But
I love it when people say it hasn't been done. I can count countless times when people say, Larry, we've never done that before. When the Department of Correction, I remember when I was I'm still on the Procurement Policy Board, when they came and they had never put a gold on commissary, never had a gold on it. But I think the CFO and the leadership of the Department of Correction many years ago knew I was on the committee. And I was glad that they understood I was on the committee and they were prepared for me when they came and gave their report. And they had mentioned they had put a 5% goal on commissary. And they did that because they knew I was on the committee, you know. And when they got to, and they felt pretty like they had beat their chest and they had done something great. And I let them talk for a while. And I said, you know, you ought to change your name from Department of Correction to Department of Corruption. It's an insult that you come before us with a 5% goal and think that you've done something. You should have a 20% goal or higher, because too many black people are incarcerated. We can't be pacifists and be nice when we know it's not right, you know. So we had to push the envelope. I was strong enough a voice that I didn't have to depend upon everybody else. I could speak my own opinion as the president of the chamber and a national leader. So we pushed that envelope, man, and we got to do that. And we owe it to our parents, our foreparents, because if you go back to ancient Kemet, where the Greeks and everyone else took credit for math, science, astrology, all those things, they got that from ancient Kemet, from a black dynasty, and they learned that from them. But our history has been taken from us. Well, we don't understand who we are. I understand who I am. I do not have to play second fiddle to anyone.
got it.
I am not afraid of anyone. It's my job to stand boldly and do what's necessary to be done. We got to do that as a people.
Yeah, our president came into Wisconsin a few weeks ago. You were there at the event.
Yes, I was.
Were you able to at least give our president to say, look, this is something that needs to be directed. This is the African American Chamber here in Milwaukee, and we need to do this. Every state in the union needs to have you come in and promote African American business development.
Well, I didn't get a chance to talk directly to him. I was close to him because there was a big crowd, and it was hosted by the Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce, one of our members of our national organization. Reuben Hopkins was a phenomenal leader. The place was packed to the rafters, and the president did a great job in talking about, you know, Justice 40, the money he's put in infrastructure and getting it to small. They had a couple examples of black business owners who had benefited and was giving personal testimonies about how it impacted their business in a positive way and the number of people they were employing and how it was making a positive difference. I think that's good. I think it's important for the president, because the president has some big challenges right now, just like Mayor Brandon Johnson has some big challenges right now. But smart leadership does what smart leadership needs to do in order to make sure that people understand, even if you do something wrong, there's 5 things you're doing right. I think I'm concerned about where America is going in 2024 in this election. We are a nonpartisan organization, but we have a definite opinion in terms of what's good or bad for us. When people start attacking affirmative action, when people start doing things to eradicate history, we must be on the place where it's good for our people. And it's clearly, in my opinion, that black people are going to have to make a very important decision. And if we falter and don't get this thing right and decide not to come out and vote and not vote what's in our best interest, then we will suffer long term for that. And I'm concerned about that. And I won't this is not a political speech. I think the president has put more money in the hands of communities than any other president in history. I follow the numbers. He's done that. Can he do more? Absolutely, yes, he can. But is his opponent going to do more? I don't think so. Okay, that's just my opinion. I ain't speaking for the whole organization.
Got it.
I'm speaking from my position as a leader of an organization at a state level.
How can the chamber help our current Mayor Johnson? He has a lot of dilemmas that are going on right now. I'm trying to direct different things that can be done for him, but how would the chamber be able to assist?
Well, first of all, we'd have to have a sit-down conversation with him, and he had to be open to that. And one of the things I think the governor and the mayor is doing wrong, in my opinion, is that when the immigrants come, and there's a lot of frustration because people feel left out and they feel like people don't care about them, and so they're angry about it, like most people would be. When the contracts come out and you got food and everything else, they ought to be intentional about making sure that black businesses, we got to pay for a person like Donald Patterson who can offer food. They ought to be looking for African Americans to do contracting with and promote that to the chamber, to other organizations, not just the chamber, other organizations, so they got third-party validation. If you're smart, you're doing that. If you're not doing that, then you're going to have the consequences of people viewing you that you don't care. And a lot of times you care, but people need to see that you care. And I think that's one of the mistakes. I think I would encourage leadership to be intentional about that money being spent. You're bringing people into their communities. They're angry, they're mad about it. Start showing where the opportunity, if you have to create an opportunity for them to do business, do it. Because if you do that, you'll soften the blows that you're going to get, and you're going to get them, quite frankly.
Got it. We got a lot of battles that take place. I see different infrastructures that get crumbled because they don't learn to diversify, get things set up properly, and make things work. Right now we have people who have needs. Right now we got a snowstorm about to happen here in Chicago, and we got a lot of immigrants who are going to be sitting here saying, where the heck do we go? We're going to be freezing out here in front of City Hall. And it's not going to look good. I can see the media coming in now to say, look, what did you do, Mr. Johnson, for all these immigrants that have just come in? They just flew in, actually got dropped here in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I think it's unfortunate that this is playing out because it's all political. But in spite of that, they're here. And, there's a obligation to some degree to try to do the best we can for everyone. But I think you cannot focus on them without making sure that the people who have been here, who have sweat, blood, and tears and died for this country, they got to feel as if you care about them. And you got to show that. You can't just say that. You got to show that. And you can begin to show that by doing some things slightly different. I think that's our challenge as leaders, is to be able to create the narrative, not be marketing geniuses and try to create a narrative that's simply not true, but to be really concerned about the people that you represent. And one of the things coming from my father, who was a Baptist preacher for 40 years, I admired, he's gone home now. But I love the scripture that David had a heart after his own people. He cared about the people. When you care about the people, when you care about your family, they're going to know it. And they're going to stand with you, they're going to fight with you because they believe that you care about them.
Yes.
We got to care more. It don't mean that we got to become, liberal crybabies or any of those things. No, it just means that we have to have a sense of fairness and equity, and we're losing that. I'm afraid that for the first time in my life, I believe America's at a threshold that could determine its failure and its success. If we're not careful, we could be in a pace of the great decline of a great country.
Got it. Would you compare what's happening right now with the immigrants coming in similar format? We have a lot of African Americans who are basically out in the streets also, without jobs, without wealth, and not assistance to help them. Are we seeing pretty much as a similar group? We got people come in from South America and all over to get help and assistance. We also have the same people here in the city of Chicago that need help and assistance. Do we need to actually start marching again just to have people say, look, you got to understand, we have people that have needs here?
Well, this is not a very easy position to be put in for anyone, because there's a lot of dynamics that's happening at the end of the day. I think what you do have to do is that, you can't be one or the other. You've got to find a way of being humanitarian when people need help, but also caring about the people who are here at the same time. And you can't just decide to care about them at the last moment. You got to begin to show them about you care about them, about the opportunities and everything else. So I think that's it's easier said than done. And I commend anyone. It's not an easy task, like I said, but you got to do it. That's the role that you play. It's your job to figure it out and to be smart and wise about it and do the right thing. Because if you don't, you won't be reelected because people will vote against you. and you may be the best person for the job, but you won't be there long enough to do what you need to do. So, like I said, I won't be overly critical, but my job is to be candid and honest as a leader. And I don't need to bite my tongue. I just simply need to tell you what I think. And if at any point in time, any leader who really wants a business person who understands its people to sit down and talk to the chamber with great people within our organizations, we'd be more than happy to work side by side with them to create the right environment. We want Illinois to be the best state. We want to have the best governor. We want to have the best city. We have those things, but they can be better, and I think we can work towards that. So the chamber welcomes an opportunity to meet with both of them, to talk about the things that we think can help. And I think we need to help this country, quite frankly.
Got it.
Even though it has, in some cases, betrayed us, we must now do what we need to do to help it to stay what it needs to stay, but not at the expense of just doing the right thing, but at the expense of making sure that they give us what we deserve to have at the same time while we help them. That's only it, okay? There's no weakness in this game. They ain't making no excuses. I want results, and I need something for the people I represent. That's it.
I can only say again, I'm a Republican. I got an interesting world coming up right now. I have a failed former president who's actually running highly in the polls right now. It looks like people want to possibly reelect him. I don't think that should happen. He will not get my vote. But the bottom line right now is we got a huge issue with this country right now, and we need to try to come together, and we need to have some direction. And right now we have to do a lot of things to make this happen.
Well, like I said, we have a divided house in a way that I've never seen before. If it was there, I didn't see it as plain. Now it's not about what's best for America, it's about what's best for my party. It's so biased that black people, white people, every kind of person need to begin to take a look at who's dividing the country, who's bringing the country together. And they have to devote their interests, and their interest is that you're not going to have America where all white people get everything and think that black people are going to tolerate it, that other people are going to tolerate it. You're going to have chaos. You must build a country that everyone feels like they have an equal opportunity to participate. That's it.
Larry, we've gone through time quickly. We only have another minute or two left. And for me, someone wants to join the African American Chamber of Commerce in Illinois. Why should they do it?
Because if you care about your own self, your self-interest, and you have any interest in business, one of the greatest organizations, not because I'm the leader of the organization, because there are people who make this organization great. You got great businesses that you can learn from, that you can grow from. You got great business opportunities. You had great meetings. There's so much to be gained from being a part. You owe it to yourself to take time to join the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and be involved and become a part of our many committees to focus on making things better for African American businesses and African American people. If we strengthen black businesses, you strengthen black communities, you strengthen black people, and you strengthen America.
Got it. Did you get my vote? So what's your on the ticket? So how do I vote for you?
Yeah, I'm no politician, man. I believe in doing good, and hopefully good things follow us.
The chamber does have a political committee. We definitely support
Absolutely.
Different representatives, and we have a focus to say, hey, if you can help us, we can help you.
Absolutely, that's it. That's the law of equal exchange. You know, my commitment to myself this year is that, hey, I'm helping those, and I'm reducing the people who always come asking for something but never give something. I think everyone, I try to teach my son that, my daughter that, even in my own household, you know, just because I'm your father don't mean that you don't have to do some things that benefit me. And I ask my kids all the time, I say, what have you done for me? I mean, I can tell you all the things I've done for you, but what have you done for me? Business people need to ask politicians. Politicians need to ask businesses, how do we help each other? How do we contribute to each other's welfare and make things better?
Got it.
That's it.
Again, that's the way it works, and that's the way life goes on. But I can only thank you again for coming out and talking with us this week. And I think we had to get your calendar to see when you can make it with us again.
Well, listen, I'd love to come back and talk to you, man. You know, I'm grateful that you've given me this opportunity to be a part of your show, and nothing but the greatest success for you, man. I've known you for quite a number of years. You've been the consummate gentleman and a consummate entrepreneur. From real estate when you're at Bradley University in Peoria, you know, you've always had a business focus, so thanks a lot for everything.
Well, we got to do those things and make things work. Again, my people, I try to support them and do what we can do to make it better.
Thank you, Lester.
So, RUSS MEEK Speak Show, that's what we talk about here every week, trying to let people know how things can be better, how we can help, and make things happen. But now what I'm going to do with my 14-year-old, he's not any great.